Hey guys, it's Hannah Claire. Happy Inauguration Week. There's a lot to go over, tons of executive orders, the release of the J6ers, withdrawal from the World Health Organization. But for this video, I'm going to start off by reviewing the inauguration fashion. It's something I'm really interested in, and if you're a man and you're tempted to click out of this video, don't hold on. I think some of the fashion choices made by the women you saw on stage comment on culture, and at the very least, it'll give you something to talk about with your moms, with your sisters, with your daughters, with your first dates. So let's get into it and review what they wore at the inauguration. So when I was researching and observing Monday and Tuesday to make this video for you guys, I was trying to decide what would be the best order to do this, whether chronological made sense or whether we should group it by person. So I'm going to jump around a little bit. Basically, starting on January 19th, there was a full slate of activities for members of the Trump family, for the Vance family, for different people participating in the inauguration. The first major event that you see photos from was the laying of the wreath at Arlington National Cemetery at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So we have a couple outfits I think are worth noting from there. That evening, there was a candlelight dinner, which appeared to be a black tie affair, so lots of beautiful gowns. The next day, there was a prayer service at St. John's, followed by a bunch of traditional Inauguration Day activities. You know, the vice president and his wife arriving at the Naval Observatory, the handoff between the president-elect and the president, the classic swearing-in ceremony, and some other things. It was record-breakingly cold in DC this week, and the mid-Atlantic is definitely still feeling it. I know parts of the Northeast are as well. So there are a lot of really fantastic coats, but they move the inauguration inside. So unlike other years where it's really dominant outerwear, that's what you see. For example, Melania Trump's light blue coat that she wore in 2016, that really had to be the focus of her outer layer. This year, we got to see a little bit more of what people were actually wearing. So the first Trump I want to talk about today is Tiffany Trump. She is expecting her first baby. There's not a ton of information about, when she's due or anything like that, but she wore this really pretty brown dress, and I couldn't find the designer, to the candlelight dinner. And then she also wore this gray button-up coat. I think both are very classic, very formal without being super flashy. And it's just fun to think that Trump's going to become a grandfather again while in this White House. The next Trump we should probably look at is Lara Trump. I think that's how her husband's name. Lara Trump, who was at one point the co-chair of the RNC, is the wife of Eric Trump. She attended the candlelight dinner in this cowl back, kind of champagne colored dress. I thought it was really pretty. It was from a designer called Chiara Boni, and she just looks really elegant. She's definitely someone who can pull off gold really well, and generally, I thought this was a great take. Later in the week, during the inauguration ball, she was wearing a red dress, but it seemed like candlelight really was the theme for a lot of the women on that night. So moving on to Usha Vance, the now second lady of the United States. She really took the country by storm this weekend. I think we normally see her in pretty minimalist styles, simpler silhouettes, kind of not a lot of patterns. And I like that. I think it's a really good look. But I don't know that we've had the opportunity to see her in very many formal settings at this point. I think most people see her in the occasional interview or on the campaign trail, which obviously more workwear, less formal wear. So Usha Vance, I think, really made her mark this weekend with her first dress for the candlelight dinner. It's this strapless black Oscar de la Renta dress. It's got this asymmetrical floral detailing, and she looks great. I think this is a fantastic choice. It's nice to see sort of the strapless look without it being too revealing, I guess, and her figure looks fantastic. Oscar de la Renta dressed Usha and Ivanka Trump this weekend in several custom gowns, and they have received a lot of backlash. And initially, when I saw the reports on this black dress, I thought, oh, she looks great, and it's custom dress. That's so fascinating. I wonder if they felt more comfortable dressing her than Melania Trump because JD's less known, because of her background because she's the first Indian woman or any Indian American woman to hold the second ladyship. I don't really know what it was, but it seems like Oscar de la Renta is now receiving a lot of heat for dressing the two of them. And I'll pull an article a little bit later on that. Usha's next eye-catching look was this baby pink, light pink Oscar de la Renta coat that she wore for all of Inauguration Day, for all of the daytime ceremony. She also had a crew neck, long sleeve matching dress for a sort of monochromatic look. I thought this was great. On my X account, I put up these comparison photos. The Trumps in 2017, when they attended the inauguration, had a really similar look to the Vances this year, I thought. You can see in this photo, Trump is wearing this bright red tie, and Melania Trump is wearing this light blue coat. It's very old school silhouette. I think a lot of people drew comparisons to something that Jackie Kennedy had worn during her tenure as First Lady. And now I think you see something similar with the Vances. Usha's opting for this lighter, softer color. It's fun to see pink in this context. I think you'll see a lot of dark colors because it's winter, and also a lot of like red, white, blue because of America, which is fun. But I think she looks really great in the pink, and it brings a sort of fun femininity to what she's going for. Honorable mention to her for holding a toddler while also holding a Bible while her husband gets sworn in. Her daughter looked absolutely adorable, and also took America by storm with her Band-Aid in her fingers. I think Matt Walsh had a tweet that was something like, Americans can never understand, or non-parents can never understand toddlers' love for Band-Aids. It's insatiable. So I thought both of the coat and the jacket looked really great on her. And again, you get this very feminine look without it being hypersexual. And I think people really confuse that. So it was fun to see Usha kind of have her own take on this with these two very different silhouettes, the strapless black dress the night before and her pink coat the night after. At night, she opted for first this blue sparkly dress. We saw it at the Commander-in-Chief ball when she and her husband, now Vice President J.D. Vance, joined the Trumps on stage for their first waltz, I guess, as like the first couples of the U.S. And I thought it was really pretty. I thought the sequening was nice. Again, she seems like she's more understated, and so I thought this beading was pretty. And then later, there's a photo of her at the Ohio ball, I believe is what it's called. And J.D. Vance was obviously speaking to his people, his Ohioans, and she's wearing this more structured, again, strapless purple dress. I love all of these jewel tones. And the fact that during the day she was wearing this bright, light pink dress, and then we fall up at night with these richer colors, it's just kind of cool. I think we'll see some really interesting style out of the second lady's house, I guess, out of the Naval Observatory instead of the East Wing. She's a young mother, and so seeing her in a lot of contexts, it's not just sort of this like corporate or like overly conservative silhouettes, but also there's definitely a level of modesty. They're very classy. I think she did a great job all weekend, and it makes me excited because obviously I can't imagine being Usha Vance and you're going to be photographed next to Melania all the time, the supermodel first lady. But she looked great, and there were just so many good images of her and J.D. Vance all weekend and their family. So fun way to kick off her public appearances as second lady. Okay, moving on to Ivanka Trump. So this is Trump's eldest daughter from his first marriage. A lot of people recognize her. She's had a role in public life for a long time, but during the 2016 campaign, she was definitely stumping for her dad. She had an advisory role in the 2017 White House. Her husband, Jared Kushner, obviously played a role with international diplomacy for Trump. Ivanka Trump has said that she is not going to move to DC again. She's going to stay in Florida. She has teenagers. She thinks it's really important to be physically present for them. But she's obviously not going to skip White House events. So I think you'll see her style throughout this 4 years, even if she's not there every single time. Ivanka's first look of the weekend was this camel-colored coat. It's custom Oscar de la Renta. It's got these floral appliques. She wore it to the wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. I think she looks great. You can see that it's obviously winter fashion. Everyone's dressing for the cold. Personally, for me, I think the coat is really beautiful. I'm not totally sold on the color for her complexion, but love the cut, love the appliques. It's obviously a great choice. She went on to wear custom Oscar de la Renta to the candlelight dinner, and I think this dress is gorgeous. Similar to Lara Trump's, there's sort of this shimmery quality that I think really picks up on the candlelight theme. Oscar de la Renta posted about this dress. It's got these crystal and pearl embroidery, and this seems to be something they're doing a lot in their spring collection. It's really beautiful. I can't imagine the amount of hours it took to make this, and it's a sheath silhouette with this off the shoulder neckline, and I think it looks really beautiful on her. I'm very pale. She's probably not as pale as I am, but I think often blonde, fair women feel as though they can't wear light tones because they'll look too washed out. And I think Ivanka is here to prove that that's not true. And I think that it's fun to see this kind of, when you get up close, there's a lot of detailed dress. You can tell it's beautiful from afar, but these close-up photos that Oscar de la Renta shared are really beautiful. Oscar de la Renta faced a fair amount of backlash as well as praise for dressing both Usha Vance and Ivanka Trump, the second lady and the first daughter, this weekend. It wasn't just that Ivanka and Usha bought pieces from them. They obviously work closely with the designers because the pieces are custom made. And I wonder what conversations happen behind closed doors there. There's an article they pointed out on social media. People were suggesting that now you have to boycott Oscar de la Renta. We can't do this anymore. Oscar de la Renta was founded by an immigrant from the Dominican Republic. They're saying that this is scandalous because Trump is pro-restricting immigration, or at least illegal immigration. Personally, I feel like this criticism is a little unfair. I think it's an honor for any designer to have the opportunity to dress someone going to these historic events when they know that it'll be photographed everywhere. And so I think that it's sort of projection from people who are essentially saying you shouldn't be dressing them. It's not really about, oh, well, we have to be pro-immigrant or whatever else. It's saying we don't like who they're associated with, and therefore you should not at all be associated with them either. I think it's cool that Oscar de la Renta was willing to work with them, especially Usha Vance, because, again, having to debut next to all of these, high fashion women must be challenging, and I think they obviously their style really seems to suit her. During Inauguration Day on January 20th, Ivanka, also having to brave the cold, opted for this dark green coat and hat combination. I think she looks beautiful. I love using these rich jewel tones as opposed to black. They're dark, they're serious for the occasion, but she looks really elegant. And just for me, in contrast to the camel colored coat that she wore earlier in the week, I just think this rich jewel tone looks really, really great on her. The other one looks fine. My personal preference. She's obviously extremely beautiful either way. The jacket, the green jacket, was reportedly made by Dior. She looks great. The look I actually want to talk about, my last commentary for Ivanka here, is this black and white dress from Givenchy that she wore to the Commander-in-Chief's ball at night after her father had been sworn in. I'm seeing a lot of stuff on X about how it's a recreation of the Sabrina dress, and it's got this old Hollywood style. It's very feminine, again, without being a plunging neckline. It's got a lot of drama in the skirt. It's got these embellishments, and I just think it's interesting. I think it's fun. There's been a couple times where the Met Gala has had themes that allow people to recreate iconic dresses from movies, and I think this is sort of a fun twist to bring it to politics, but also in a way that reminds people of old Americana. I think that Audrey Hepburn, although obviously she was born in Europe, I think a lot of people think of old movies and they think of her. They think of this classic grace, and she was known for her style. So it's very cool to see Ivanka bring this out. And again, it's just a little bit unexpected. I think in probably a room full of very like slinky sequin dresses, this one's a little bit different, and it's definitely memorable. And now, of course, we have arrived at the main event, the one, the only First Lady Melania Trump. She had a lot of really interesting looks this weekend, some controversial choices, but I think it's worth talking about because she seems to be very intentional with her fashion. I know in her memoir, she specifically said she likes to message with her clothing choices. And as a former model, you can understand that more than anyone else, she has had a lot of time to think about what she's putting on and how she will be photographed. So working through the weekend chronologically, the first look is her wreath-laying outfit. She wore this Dior double-breasted black cape coat and these Louis Vuitton boots that people really fell in love with. I know there were some commentators being like, this is boring, I don't know, but I thought it was demure. It was obviously freezing cold there, so I can understand the winter wear, and it's just very classic. She doesn't have to be loud to still be very noticeable. She's a very striking woman. It's not that it's like the most crazy out there unique outfit, but I thought it was really classic. And again, I love cape coats. I think they're so cool, and I think that they should come back into style. I think everyone should have one. So having these sort of more vintagey silhouettes come into prominence would be my ideal, and I'm glad she's leading the way on that. For the candlelight dinner on January 19th, Melania Trump opted for this Dolce & Gabbana pantsuit. Sort of controversial. Not everybody likes it. Some people thought it was too masculine or too boring. I thought it was interesting. She has been opting for a lot of strong shoulder pad, very structured outfits, and I have been referring this as her return to work era. Now that Barron has left the house, she's an empty nester, and a lot of her attire seems to be very structured, very formal, as if she is sort of ready for business. I don't know if that's the message she's trying to send. It's definitely how I'm interpreting it. Melania and team, please give me a call. I would be happy to know if I'm right here. She is someone with pretty broad shoulders, so a lot of silhouettes look more structure on her, I think. It's definitely a unique choice, especially given that the other women in her family were opting for these black tie coated long formal dresses. She's opting for a essentially black tie pantsuit. It's not my number one look for her ever, but she's beautiful. She looks great. It's obviously well made. Melania's most talked about choice was definitely her Inauguration Day outfit. It's this navy woolen silk coat skirt combination with an ivory blouse made by Adam Lips, an American designer, and a coordinating hat made by Eric Jarvis, who's also an American designer. I think this was a really cool choice, but the hat has people shook. Some people hate it. Some people love it. Personally, I feel like hats should come back for women. I think it'd be cool if we had a hat culture, if millionaires around the country could rise again. But it's definitely a choice. A lot of comparisons to Carmen Sandiego I saw. It's very structured. You know, it really covered part of her face. It covered part of her brow, and some people hated that. Something cool to note about the hat is that the designer apparently hand-delivered it to Melania's stylist. He apparently had sent one in the mail and it had gotten crushed, and he didn't even know if she would wear it because she had been given a hat by Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren was one of her go-to designers during her husband's first term, and she opted to wear it. Again, very ode to small business, which I like. It would be cool if she and Usha Vance could both use their platforms to lift up American designers that produce and create with American textiles, design in America, very America first in fashion. I don't know that there are a lot of ways to find that, and I think that kind of exposure would really be great. So many luxury designers are based in Europe. Nothing wrong with that. Just it would be cool if we could highlight some of our own talent in this country. I think that one of the reasons we talk about Melania's fashion choices so much is because of how she was treated during Trump's first term. A lot of designers refused to work with her. They didn't want to dress her, which they would customarily do for first ladies. She wasn't given a cover of Vogue, which again, Vogue traditionally offers a cover to the first lady of the United States. Despite the fact that she was a supermodel, she was really treated badly by the fashion world. Not everyone, but a lot of people. So it's interesting that we're seeing this renewed interest in the first lady and what she's wearing from the fashion community. It's almost as if the taboo has lifted. She obviously is wealthy. She could buy a designer and the designer, isn't going to decline her payment or whatever. So, I don't know that Dior, when she wore that black cape, was specifically sending a message. But designers like Adam Lips they're embracing this opportunity that so many people would have the honor of dressing a first lady. Not everyone can say that. Adam Lips, the designer of Melania Trump's Inauguration Day outfit, told the Economic Times, "The tradition of the presidential inauguration embodies the beauty of American democracy. And today, we had the honor to dress our First Lady, Mrs. Melania Trump. Mrs. Trump's outfit was created by some of America's finest craftsmen, and I take great pride in showing the work to the world." But this is a chance for people who are skilled to show their work and for her to highlight some of the talent that we have in this country. I'm not going to bring up the H-1B visa debate that erupted on X right at the end of the year, but there are so many people who are interested in fashion who have really incredible skills, and having the opportunity to dress a first lady is a big deal. I think she has brought so much attention to Lips brand just by doing this. It's reminding the world that America has its own fashion and it's beautiful. The last Melania Trump look I want to talk about is the black and white dress she wore to the Commander-in-Chief ball. It's beautiful, it's eye-catching, it's very unique. The story behind it apparently is that her personal stylist, Hervé Pierre, I'm mispronouncing his name, I'm so sorry, apparently sketched this line, and it was the inspiration for the black and white sort of ribbon effect that you see, which again follows this pattern in her fashion. It's highly structured, but it's also emphasizing her silhouette. So while being sort of strong, it's also very feminine. And I think that's an incredible message for her to send to women in America. I think so many people get Melania wrong, that she is this, shadow to Trump, or that she is just there for the money or the glory or the fame, when really I think she is learning how to represent strong femininity, which the media would often suggest doesn't exist. You can either have sort of hypersexual women, or you can have strong women, or you have weak women, but there's no one who can just be feminine and also carry themselves with grace. And that's one of the things I'm most excited for about Melania's return to the White House. I think she is a good role model for a lot of women out there who are pursuing all kinds of walks of life, working, staying at home. It seems like she has always done kind of a combination. This custom black and white dress was created by her personal stylist. He also dressed her in 2017. He designed the white dress she wore to that inauguration ball. This is, again, during the time when people were refusing to dress her because she's married to Donald Trump. And I love that she sort of echoed this tradition. It's obviously someone she has a close personal relationship with. She values his input. And instead of maybe turning to Oscar de la Renta or someone else who had previously closed the door to her, she stuck by someone she is loyal to. And I think that's a good message to send as well, that she and Trump both reward loyalty. The dress is paired with this black choker. Personally, not my favorite choice, but again, she is so striking and strong, and there's sort of this Victorian old Americana twist with it that I really like. The other thing that I liked was that she let her hair down. We had this more structured, very conservative look during the day, and at night, she's strapless, she's got her beautiful hair down, she's dancing with Trump to the YMCA. She looks really happy, and for someone who I think keeps a very resting, serious face, I won't use any other way to describe it, it's fun to see her having fun and embracing it. It's almost as if she is signaling there is a time for seriousness, for gravity, to honor what everyone has gathered here to do. And then there is a time for celebration, and you dress and act a little bit differently. So it's fun to see her model this behavior for everyone else around her. I think she does set a standard, and I'm happy to see that captured in just the range of style that she had this day, with a very simple color palette. I mean, all weekend she's basically worn white, black, and navy, and she didn't need anything else to be an icon. Very, very different from what she wore in 2016, and in some ways maybe that speaks to we have been through some stuff. I was live streaming the inauguration with the quartering Jerry Hambley over on his channel, and we talked about the fact that Trump also opted for this darker tie. 2016, he was wearing this bright red tie, and now he's wearing this almost purple tie. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be bipartisan purple or if it's more of a muted red, like someone who has been through something and learned. We have this more bright, optimistic color palette then, and a more muted, serious color palette from the Trumps now. Or maybe they just changed their mind on what colors they wanted. They wanted something a little bit different, but they both looked fantastic all weekend. And again, Melania caught the world's attention with basically 2 dark shades in white, and that's pretty cool. And with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what looks you liked. If you're a man, let me know if this was interesting or helpful to you. I think that the Trumps, the Vances are really going to have a lot to say with what they're wearing over the next 4 years. And I'm interested to see how they embrace the fashion world and to see what designers they highlight with their choices. Because again, it makes all the differences, especially for smaller designers, to have these opportunities. So I love that as a message going forward, and I'm excited to see what comes. More videos later this week. I'll do some more serious policy related stuff, but thank you for indulging me on this one. If you guys want to keep up with me during the week between my videos, you can find me on X, and you can also check out the quartering streams. We stream 1 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's when I'm there. So thanks for all your support. Have a great day.